Good evening, everyone. We continue to watch these storms continue to move their way out to the northeast across northeast Nebraska right now. We have a couple new tornado warnings to bring you. So here is talking about you. We're going to take it out a little bit further there. You can see Thurston by 7:37 into the Winnebago area if this confirmation continues until 7:56. Then eventually Salix as we get toward 8:14. So again, this is quite the cluster of storms that we have going on across northeast Nebraska. It's getting a little more muddy as far as these are not discrete supercells anymore. They're kind of forming into clusters that has not stopped the rotation as of yet, though. So a bit of a problem, obviously. And you'll notice Sioux City, by the way, up there toward the banner, we are starting to get in on a thunderstorm here, but obviously all the severe stuff that we are most worried about still well off to the southwest of the Sioux City metro area. So that is that tornado warning. I want to get to another one here. Just tornado warning for southeastern Madison County in northeast Nebraska, as well as west central Stanton County. And this goes until 8 p.m. A severe thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado. So this basically means that there is Doppler radar indicating rotation within that cell about 11 miles to the south of Norfolk. It's moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. So you can see that cell down there. Tornado and ping pong ball sized hail a possibility with this storm. So again, this is for southeastern Madison that you're looking at now, as well as west central Stanton counties, and that goes until 8 p.m. So there are numerous cells out here. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at velocity radar so we can get an idea of where some of these rotations are. And this is one of the brighter ones that we have going on right now. This is just off to the southwest of Beamer.
Look at debris detection on that right now.
All right, we're going to look at debris detection just to give you an idea on this one. So, and this is what we're looking at here. So basically, what we're concerned about is the possibility of tornadoes on the ground, that possibly some debris is being picked up and put up into the atmosphere. So this is not too far to the southwest of Beamer, just to the south of Wisner, and it is right there, it's close to the Highway 32 and Highway 15 corridor that we are looking at. New information just came in there. New data just showed up. Not quite as bright as it was last time, but obviously there's a possibility of some debris being picked up right there at that intersection there of Highway 15 and Highway 32 that we're looking at. So again, that is moving its way off to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So if you live anywhere between that intersection that I was just talking about and Beamer, Nebraska, you want to be making sure you are in a substantial structure right now as we speak, because obviously we have a dangerous situation going on, and it's looking like there's a tornado on the ground. That was from a spotter, and then also the fact that we're seeing some debris possibly being lofted into the air. We go back to velocity, I'm sure we're going to see the reds and the greens coming together right at that same area. So obviously a concerning development there. We also have some pretty good rotation just off to the northeast of that area as well. So a couple areas of rotation there. We were talking about that other tornado warning that is now in effect for southeastern Madison County, for example, and we're seeing a little bit of rotation associated with that cell. We've had a lot of these throughout the night tonight, even a couple a little bit farther off into the central sections of Madison County there. All of these working their way off to the northeast at this time, but obviously this is the area that we are most concerned about right now. A couple areas of rotation showing up very close to the intersection of Highway 15 and Highway 32 and just off to the northeast of there. Again, if you live in the Beamer area or just off to the southwest of there, you're in a dangerous place to be, a dangerous situation, and you want to be taking cover immediately. So I mentioned those two tornado warnings. I do want to get out a quick severe thunderstorm warning that also came in around the same time. This is for southeastern Wayne, northwestern Cumming, as well as northeastern Stanton counties. This goes until 8 p.m. That cell also moving to the northeast at the same speed at about 35 miles per hour. So quarter-sized hail a possibility with the cell that is going on there. I'm going to go back to the radar data that we're looking at here, and you can see that supercell thunderstorm there that we have. There's that other warning in the Madison, Nebraska area, for example. Some strong storms up near Norfolk. Those are not warned for anything right now. And then these cells continue to get closer to Sioux City. As I mentioned, we're starting to get in on a thunderstorm here in Sioux City, but this is not the severe stuff. It is all to the southwest of town right now. I'm going to put the storm reports on real fast here. You'll see some areas that have had touchdowns tonight. One of those areas was not too long ago, about 5 miles to the north of Clarkson, Nebraska. We had another one just to the west of Pender just a little bit ago. And you see another touchdown or two off in Madison County earlier in the night. This was to the southwest of Norfolk that you see there to the southeast of Meadow Grove. Those are touchdowns. Anywhere where you see the cloud, that is a funnel cloud being reported, like just directly to the west of Madison. That is a funnel, just to give you an idea of what exactly you're looking at here. And this is the one that is farthest to the east. There's that one that was just reported recently, just to the west of Pender. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and put that information on the screen for you just so you know exactly what we're dealing with. At 7:21 is when that tornado was reported, just about 3 miles to the west of Pender, Nebraska. So these are the cells that we are dealing with right now, and that's the reason for concern and the reason we're tracking these very closely tonight. The tornado watch was issued several hours ago. All of a sudden, these storms got going in the far southwestern parts of the KTIV viewing area, and obviously they are not letting up. This is a very bright area that we are watching right here. That's some pretty good rotation going on. Very close now to Beamer, Nebraska. If you live anywhere around that Highway 275 corridor, this is an area to be very, very concerned about at this point. This is trying to take a look at where debris might be put aloft here, and not seeing anything quite as bright as it was there for a while. But obviously, this is a very dangerous situation in this area. So again, if you live close to Highway 32, just to the north of there, close to the Highway 275 corridor, and especially just to the southwest of there, but trust me, if you live from there, even off to the northeast, you want to be taking cover and making sure you're getting into a safe spot. So all this activity, again, moving to the northeast, 35 miles per hour is showing you some of the areas that have already seen touchdowns tonight from the storms that are ongoing. And this tornado warning, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and go back to our radar data. And just for a second here, I'm going to take off our radar data just so you get an idea of what warnings we have going on. So there are basically 3 separate tornado warnings at this time. So the one that you see near Winnebago, for example, that is a tornado warning in effect for central Thurston County, and that is ongoing at this time it's going to be in Thurston by about 7:35, they're saying. So just within a couple of minutes is where that cell is. I want to go ahead and take a look at a couple of the others while I am on this. The one just to the west of West Point and just south of Wisner, Nebraska, obviously one we're very concerned about. That tornado warning continues for west central Cumming as well as east central Stanton counties, and that is until 7:45. And then the one farthest to the west, the one that you see on the left-hand side of your screen there, that is for the Madison, Nebraska area. The southeastern Madison as well as west central Stanton counties, that tornado warning goes until 8 p.m. And then right in the middle of all that is that severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Wayne, Cumming, and Stanton counties. And again, that goes until 8 p.m. So that gives you an idea of exactly where the warnings are at this time. I'm going to put that radar data back on there. A lot of these cells have been developing and redeveloping upon themselves. So because of that, we do have problems with flash flooding that is occurring in some of these areas. The rainfall rates have been very impressive, and obviously with those storms going over the same area time and again, flooding is becoming a concern in those areas. So lots of water being put down with these very heavy rains ongoing. And again, these are all tracking to the northeast. We're obviously going to get in on some of that rain here in Sioux City, especially across northeast Nebraska, that we are seeing some of that activity.
Yep, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, Ron, but it looks like we may have a confirmed tornado via debris detection near or very much right on Thurston. So if you want to take a quick look at Thurston, just looking at debris detection, it looks like we've got what looks like a weak area of rotation on radar, but when we actually get down to it and look at debris detection, kind of a spot that looks like it could be popping up there was a little bit concerning, and that's the spot that I'm talking about right there.
So right there. So this is what Kat is talking about here. Very close to Thurston, Nebraska. That's an indication that debris is being picked up by a possible tornado that is out there. And again, that is right on Highway 9 right now, very close to Thurston, Nebraska. So again, these are the locations that you have to be most concerned about. And we've already been talking about a couple of these cells possibly doing this kind of a thing. So this is another area that we're concerned about, very close to Thurston. Looks like some debris being picked up. So please, if you live in this area, you're getting to a basement, you're making sure you're in a good, secure location. You don't want to be going outside trying to see these kinds of storms. I know it's always tempting for people to want to see what is coming at them. It is not the best of ideas, though. You want to make sure you're in a good, safe place. Basement is always the thing that you want to do. Remember, a tornado warning, this is what we're talking about. We've seen several of these tonight. There's your action plan right there. You need to take cover immediately. You always want to avoid windows and be on the lowest level of your place. Hopefully that is a basement. That is always the best place to be, but any lowest floor is going to be the next best place to be. And you don't want to be in a mobile home or in a car or anything like that. If you know anybody who would be traveling in this area, you want to be making sure you are alerting them as well. Sometimes when we're traveling, we're not as good about paying attention to this kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at velocity, and you see the rotation going on right there. I was talking about the heavy rains coming out of this, a flash flood warning in effect for southeastern Madison and central Stanton counties. This goes until 12:30. So just for a second, I'm going to leave that rotation that we're looking at over Thurston. Please, if you live in Thurston, be making sure you're taking cover immediately there. Very heavy rains taking place back here. Between 1 and 3 inches of rain have fallen in this area in the southeastern parts of Madison and central parts of Stanton County. This flash flood warning is going to go until 12:30. Remember, flash flood warnings always go for a longer period of time because the water is going to be standing for a longer period of time. So an additional rainfall of up to 2 inches is going to be a possibility in some of these areas. So very heavy rain taking place here in northeast Nebraska. Very heavy rain with a couple of those cores that you see there in Wisner, as a matter of fact. And then, of course, as we were talking about, this area near Thurston, Nebraska, that we are especially concerned about as well. We have a new tornado warning. This is now in effect for southern Dakota, as well as south central Dixon counties, and this goes until 8 p.m. So we see this new warning right here. Now, as of 7:36, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Emerson, Nebraska. So that's right there in the middle of your screen. There is Emerson. So we're talking a tornado warning for that area. That cell is moving to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. This dangerous storm is going to be near Emerson within about just a couple of minutes. By 7:40, they are saying, as a matter of fact. So again, this is a new tornado warning for that cell that you're looking at right there. And I'm going to broaden out just a little bit here so you can see that's a tornado warning. This is for southern Dakota, as well as south central Dixon counties. And this goes until 8 p.m. That cell, again, moving to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and take about the middle of this cell to the northeast, about 25 miles per hour, and see where that leaves us. Dakota City, you could be affected by about 8:20. Well before that would be the Hubbard, Nebraska area. That would be about 8:03. And then Sioux City is getting toward the path of this cell that we're looking at right here. So what we're going to be watching for here in Sioux City, and again, this would be in a little bit less than an hour that cell could be reaching the Sioux City metro area, is whether it can continue this rotation and such. So this is a tornado warning for southern Dakota and south central Dixon counties, and this goes until 8 p.m. for that cell moving to the northeast. A little slower than a couple of the cells that we've just recently been looking at that have been moving at 35 miles per hour. There is what you do. This is your time to take cover and get to that basement and make sure that you are staying safe. We have a lot of ways to follow us anymore, so I always used to tell people to turn their TVs up as loud as they could and such. Anymore, you can take your phone right in with you and be able to watch us, because there are lots of streaming ways and things like that anymore to be able to watch us and such. So again, the Beamer, Nebraska area, that is one area that we are very concerned about right now. We've been trying to detect any debris being thrown into the air. And at times we have seen that basically from there just off to the southwest. So please, if you live in this area, you need to be taking cover immediately in the Beamer, Nebraska area. And again, that's at central Cumming County. That tornado warning is going to go until 8:15. I'm going to go ahead and go back to radar here. And that's a good hail core. Oftentimes, the stronger rotation is, the more developed a thunderstorm is. Also, the larger the hail is going to get to be. As a matter of fact, I can kind of give you an idea of where some of the largest hail is, and that is the largest hail core that we have right now. It's just off to the southeast of Wisner right now. There are a couple of pretty good ones close to that Highway 81 corridor between Norfolk and Madison, one just to the west of Highway 81, and even a bigger one just to the east of Highway 81. And that tornado warning that was going on off that direction seems to no longer be there anymore. I'm going to go back to our radar, and just for a second here, I'm going to take off that sweeping radar again so that you can see the tornado warnings that we have lined up. I tell you what, those are three pretty impressive tornado warnings, just kind of all in a line, all those cells moving off to the northeast. And as I mentioned, early in this event, we could really see the separate cells very, very easily. Now they're becoming much more meshed together. You would think eventually this might help to stop some of the rotation. As of right now, that is just simply not the case. These tornado warnings do continue, rotation does continue, and we've had reports in the recent past here of these tornadoes touching down. As a matter of fact, there is one of our latest ones that you see right there. This was just the west of Pender, I believe. Yeah, that was near Pender, just about 3 miles west of there. That was at 7:21. So what, that's 20 minutes ago only, and there was more farther off to the southwest of there earlier in the night. So that is one of the most recent ones that we have. But as you can see, there have been numerous reports of funnels as well as brief tornado touchdowns off in other parts of northeast Nebraska as well. So this activity is ongoing for right now, and severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings are continuing across the region. I'm going to go ahead and put the radar back on there, so we're taking a good look at where the storm reports were there for a while, and now where the radar data is now. So that's the very latest there. We do have another severe thunderstorm warning, and this is for east central Madison, southwestern Cumming, and southern Stanton counties. So if you remember, I was just showing you those hail cores, and the one that was especially impressive, I thought, just off to the east of Highway 81. And sure enough, they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning based on that cell there. This goes until 8:30, and again, that's for east central Madison, southwestern Cumming, and southern Stanton counties. This goes until 8:30. That cell moving to the east right now at 25 miles per hour and is going to be capable of some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and probably at least a decent amount of hail, even if that hail size may not quite be reaching 1 inch. It's obviously a pretty good hail core going on there. But even more so than that, we're concerned about these 3 tornado warnings just off to the east of there. This one between Wisner and West Point. You can see just how strong this is. We can go back to velocity data, and you can continue to see the rotation pretty much over Beamer at this time. Kat, do you have something there?
Yeah, and the emergency manager of Cumming County is reporting that there is rotation south and east of Beamer about 2 miles. So we are seeing rotation from the emergency manager in Cumming County. Yeah, when looking at radar, these storms are all looking very much quite impressive, especially as we start to see the southern side of the storm as it beelines it from Beamer toward just north of West Point along 275. I would say that's the most impressive, but we did get what looks to be radar indicated rotation near Emerson, and that's from the National Weather Service there. So we do have a radar indicated potentially a tornado here north of Emerson. It's going to be working its way toward Hubbard. We also have more rotation down to the south in this area for Thurston County. Right now, what we've been seeing, I feel like Ron and I have seen this situation a few times this year where we get this kind of line that shows up on velocity radar, and we basically get spin ups along that line of where those winds kind of come together, and that's going to be working its way toward Winnebago, Walt Hill. If you live in Homer, that's probably a good idea to go ahead and begin to work your way down to your tornado shelters. And then working our way farther down as well, we still have that really strong area of rotation near Beamer. And I think a lot of this is some bad radar data, but also sometimes that can indicate a very strong tornado. So I think at this time, that's just kind of a spot that we're watching very carefully, Ron.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Kat, because that has obviously been very suspect. We've got to be careful of that Beamer area because that has been concerning what you're looking at. And like Kat says, you always have to worry about a little bit of bad radar data when it gets to be a certain color there. But we're going to be watching that. And yeah, just as Kat was saying, she's exactly right. We keep getting these lines, it seems like, this year, and along those you get those, briefer, weaker tornadoes at times. It's not really the way this one began tonight. These were single-cell thunderstorms that were going on, and they were rotating. It took them a while to actually start touching the ground, but eventually they did. Now, as I mentioned, at 7:21, 3 miles to the west of Pender, yes, we did have a tornado touchdown there. So we're going to be watching this entire line very, very closely. Kat did mention the Emerson area, and that's exactly right. The National Weather Service was indicating that area was seeing some rotation just a little bit ago. So we're going to be watching this entire line continuing to work its way off to the northeast with numerous tornado warnings still in effect. There are those tornado warnings. So we have 3 of them. Looks like a brand new update is just coming into the one. That's what that is indicating. When you see that blinking, that's kind of an indication to us that a little new information is coming in. So that new information from the National Weather Service says that severe thunderstorm here at 7:46, so just a minute ago, is still capable of producing a tornado. Anytime you hear those words, that's the National Weather Service saying that they are seeing rotation within that cell on radar, and it's located over Beamer. So just exactly what Kat and I were just telling you there. This is moving to the northeast a little faster now, up to 40 miles per hour. So a possible tornado contained within that cell. and golf ball sized hail a possibility as well. So that is the warning, and that is the area right there. Right there, just a little bit of a decrease as far as the intensity of the cell. It doesn't mean the rotation has necessarily gone down, but that's where you have to start, is trying to get these things to decay a little bit.
And Ron, from a fire department in that area, we do have a new wall cloud directly over Beamer. According to them, they've had a few touchdown attempts so far. So it looks like it's certainly trying yet again to put down a tornado near Beamer.
And we've seen these so many times. You know how these things can touch down for a little bit, go back up, kind of hover there for a little while. So sometimes we might be saying, hey, we're seeing some rotation within Doppler radar, for example. But yeah, in real time, real life out there, that could be very close to the ground. It doesn't necessarily mean that, we're sitting okay. There's just rotation going on. You obviously have to be concerned because these things can touch down. If all of a sudden it strengthens enough, that can stay on the ground for a while and cause some real problems. We've been trying real hard to keep an eye on these cells to see if we're seeing debris lifted up within any rotation going on. And we've seen some indication of that here tonight. So there is the cell directly over Beamer right now. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to take a look at the hail core and just to get an idea of how big Doppler radar is estimating this to be. So just to the southwest of Beamer, well, it's picking up the tornado warning instead, I guess. I'd have to take off the watch warning here. Let me see what we get here. So those are showing just a little over 1 inch in diameter. So the hail, not as big of a deal, obviously, as the rotation that we are looking at, but that's what is showing up right now. We're going to continue to watch these cells work their way off to the northeast. We get the hail off there, show the radar that we're used to seeing, and you can see that very intense cell. Some of these to the north, Kat, don't look quite as strong as what they did a little while ago, and I'm going to put velocity on here and just to try to get an idea of what we're looking at. So this is velocity radar. Still, this is the brightest area, and just off to the southwest, near that Beamer area, all through here. This is still my biggest concern, I think, that we're looking at right now. As we zoom out, we're looking for any bright areas. There's a little bit of one showing up over here, farther off to the southwest than what we've mostly been talking about, to the south of Stanton. So we're going to keep a close eye on that as well. But these are the areas that are of most concern right now. There is a severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, for that one south of Stanton that I was just telling you about. So maybe a little rotation trying to pick up in that. For now, though, that is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in progress there. There's the one near Beamer. I'm going to get the latest on that tornado warning. Again, that goes until 8:15. So that's still in effect for another 25 minutes, that tornado warning is. And there's another one a little bit farther to the north of there that has been ongoing. So this is the one near Emerson. That is the reason you see that tornado warning starting in the Emerson area there. And that tornado warning goes until 8 p.m. Places like Hubbard and Homer, you need to be taking a particular interest in that and getting to a safe spot as well. Here in the Sioux City metro area, we're going to be keeping a close eye on that cell because you can see the orientation of that cell and where it's going. This is trying to move to the northeast, and that means it's moving toward the Sioux City metro area. So we'll have to see if that rotation is able to continue, and if so, and if they eventually end up issuing another one, that could be getting very close to the Sioux City area by that time. So still a little time to go before we're threatened here in the Sioux City metro area, but obviously we'll have to be keeping a very close eye on that and getting more concerned. But really we're down to 3 warnings. 2 of those are tornado warnings. 1 is a severe thunderstorm warning at this point. And a new
severe thunderstorm warning coming out here.
Is there new in there?
But let me tell you, some of these bright colors, typically, most days would say, hey, that's some really big hail. But I think today it's actually just some really heavy rain, to be honest. We are getting potentially some very heavy rain at times. We have a flash flood warning in effect until 11:45. And so this flash flood warning, it goes until 11:45 p.m. this evening. These thunderstorms have basically been training over the same area over and over again. Would not be surprised to see that actually extended into the rest of the area, but I believe 1 to 3 inches of rain may have already fallen in those areas, and with maybe 1 to 2 more inches on the way. But we do have that new severe thunderstorm warning. This is for, I believe, southern Dixon into Monona County here. And let me pull this warning up, and we've got, Thurston in Monona County till 8:30. So right now we're looking at 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So it's trying to get a little bit more gusty here with the winds, and that may actually continue some of that rotation toward the north into Dakota County. So we're going to have to watch that pretty carefully here. We are still watching that tornado warning for Dakota County. We are getting reports in Homer of sirens going off, and we are going to be watching that rotation pretty carefully. Although from what it looked like earlier, Ron, I think you would agree with me, that looks a little bit less intense, but there is a few spots there that may be starting to pop up with those brighter colors just to the west of Hubbard, where I would say probably a good idea to just stay in those tornado shelters just in case. Jackson, this is your first alert. That area of rotation could be headed your direction here in the next few minutes. Ron?
Yeah, I agree with you there, Kat, completely. So please just be careful in that area, but maybe a little less rotation. I'm going to take you way down south for just a second here. If we could go to Max 2 for a second. We do have southeastern Harrison and southeastern Shelby counties. So this is the far southern parts of what we consider the KTIV viewing area. Under a severe thunderstorm warning until 8:45. This is a cell that is just to the east of Omaha right now, moving its way off to the east-northeast. So you're just getting scraped down there. So just want to make you aware of that. Southeastern Harrison and southeastern Shelby counties, you're now under a severe thunderstorm warning. That goes until 8:45, with the main event for us still taking place right here in northeast Nebraska, and not too far off to the southwest of Sioux City here as we speak. That one's still to the northwest of West Point. And I agree with you, because the hail, it doesn't seem like it has been very big for the most part. Probably really, really heavy rain that is coming down. And we have some kind of a new warning coming in. This one is another flash flood warning. So I tell you what, flash flooding, there's a real issue with it out there right now. This is a new flash flood warning for northern Cumming, southeastern Madison, central Stanton, west central Thurston, as well as southeastern Wayne counties, and this is going to go until 1 a.m. If you've been watching Kat for a lot of the late afternoon and the evening hours, and I just joined her here this evening, these areas have been getting the same, the storms redeveloping overhead time and again. So this is going to be some really heavy rain that has fallen. Now, in this particular area, between 1 and 2 inches of rain have fallen, with another 1 to 2 inches expected because of the storms that are out there right now. So flooding is a real potential. And again, that's northern Cumming, southeastern Madison, central Stanton, west central Thurston, as well as southeastern Wayne counties. And this goes until 1 a.m. So looks like new information also coming in on that severe thunderstorm warning that is going on. That's in Stanton County. So severe thunderstorm warning does continue for the southwestern part of Cumming and southern Stanton counties. And again, that goes until 8:30. That severe thunderstorm warning does. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, a possibility with that. So just as Kat was saying, these look very impressive as far as hail, and it was almost fooling me for a second. And as she mentioned, it's probably really heavy rain, and that is according to the National Weather Service agreeing with that, because they're not really issuing these for the hail size. They're issuing these more based on maybe some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Obviously, the tornado warnings, that's a whole different deal. That is where we're seeing rotation, so they issue those tornado warnings based on that information. And this one that has been producing a possible tornado not too far to the west of Homer, looks like it continues to get less and less organized at this time. So hopefully a little disorganization taking place there. There's a little bit of that rotation still taking place up that direction, more along that line like we were talking about earlier. This is still the brighter area down here. It was over Beamer a little while ago. It does not look as organized to me there right now either. So those are the areas that we've been watching by far the closest. Still an impressive area of thunderstorms. I'm hoping this is kind of the beginning of maybe some of the rotation signs going down a little bit for us at this point. If I take that radar away, you'll see the warnings that are out there. We have those 2 tornado warnings still in effect. That farther north one, by the way, if I remember right, I think that goes until 8 p.m. There. So we're talking the one just to the southwest of Sioux City. A tornado warning is in effect until 8 p.m. And that's for southern Dakota and south central Dixon counties. So in 3 or 4 minutes here, we're going to know more of this, the National Weather Service is thinking as to whether they want to extend that tornado warning or whether they're able to just take it away completely or change it to a severe thunderstorm warning. And actually, if you look down to the south, you see the blinking taking place. That is new information that we have coming in there. So that is a new severe thunderstorm warning just coming in for that cell where the heaviest rain is just to the southwest, or to the northwest rather, of West Point, Nebraska right now. So that severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northwestern Burt, eastern Cumming, and southeastern Thurston counties. This goes until 8:45. That thunderstorm is located along a line extending from 5 miles to the east of Pilger to 6 miles west of West Point, moving to the east at about 25 miles per hour. So again, the area that we're most concerned about there is this warning. This is the warning I'm speaking of right now, just so we're all on the same page here. That cell moving to the east at 25 miles per hour, the possibility of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and maybe some quarter-sized hail associated with that. So you can see they kind of elongated that area, made it much bigger, made it into a severe thunderstorm warning, as opposed to the tornado warning that is still ongoing there. So. Yeah.
Yeah, and from our the storm spotter from the Livingston County Fire or the Livingston Fire Department, he's been out storm spotting all day in southern portions of our viewing area. He has said that it looks like there could be a tornado imminent there just to the east of Beamer, and that's why I believe they just kind of shortened this box here from the National Weather Service. Our area of rotation possibly right here, kind of 2 spots there. That could be that rotation that he's seeing, but he's seeing quite a bit of rotation there. And just by what Ron was just showing just a few minutes ago, where it looks like kind of the reflectivity radar is starting to look more classically like we're starting to get more what we call of an RFD, a rear flank downdraft, trying to circle around. And the more that we get this kind of circling around, we get more of that defined hook. I think we may start to see this kind of cycle. So this is kind of the storm of the moment, the area that we're watching probably the most carefully because of just really how this looks on radar. I would say it looks like it's trying to cycle back and do some more flirting with tornado potential here. So again, this is the area we're looking at. This is making a beeline toward Bancroft. Right now, the area of rotation that I believe we're looking at is just to the west of Highway 9, and it's going to be working its way toward Highway 51. So I would say maybe crossing Highway 9 just south of 51 there, and then toward Bancroft. So that's going to be the area that we're looking for. Is there something I'm missing, Ron, you think?
No, you're doing great there. I was just kind of scouring National Weather Service information. The National Weather Service out of Omaha is saying the coming county storm seems to be transitioning into more of a wind threat, although the embedded tornado warning continues and looks somewhat favorable in the near term for potential tornado development. So just like you were saying there, Kat, there's going to be a little bit of a look to it that is indicating the possibility of it still trying to put down a tornado. Also, the storm following it through Stanton County is developing quite the wind signature as well. So we've been talking about that one a little bit farther off to the west that currently has a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for it. So they're a little bit concerned about some pretty good wind coming out of that one. So you see Clarkson, Nebraska, for example, just to the toward the bottom of your screen. That warning just to the north of there, a little bit more of a wind signature beginning to develop with that, with maybe a little bit more of a tornado signature trying to get going with this current tornado warning that is in effect just to the east of Beamer, Nebraska. So Beamer, you've been highlighted for a while now. That thing started to the southwest of you. It looked like the rotation was going right overhead for a while. And now that tornado warning is no longer in effect for Beamer specifically. But boy, just to the east of there is still a real concern. So if you live from just to the east of Beamer over to Bancroft, Nebraska, please do be careful in that area. That's just to the south of Pender. That's kind of your triple point that we're watching the closest right now for that area for the potential of that cell trying to put down a tornado at this time. Notice that we are to 8 p.m., by the way, and the National Weather Service has not issued any more kind of a severe thunderstorm or tornado warning for that area just off to the southwest of Sioux City. And it was been looking like that area was getting a little bit weaker for a while now. So, Homer, I'm sure you're getting in on some pretty good rain, but at least as far as the severe potential, it seems like that area has decreased a little bit, which for us here in the Sioux City metro area, that is some good news. The problem is those storms further off to the south of there, they are still a problem. And so we continue with that tornado warning that you see right there, basically in the middle of your screen. That is, again, in effect for northeastern Cumming County, and that continues until 8:15. So that's still for another 14 minutes here that is going to be going on. So keeping a very close eye on that one with a couple bigger areas of severe thunderstorm warnings. And in case you're just joining us, you might be noting that you always have to be concerned about tornado warnings, obviously, but believe it or not, this is about as good as we've looked tornado warning-wise for a while, isn't it, Kat? Because you were covering so many of those for a while. There were a good number. We had 3 big cells kind of all going on at one time there for a while in southwestern Siouxland, and they just kept moving to the northeast. They were not moving very quickly. The warning stayed on them for a while, then a couple more started to be added. We're down to one area that is under that tornado warning that we're looking at right now. And so that's the reason we're still on the air, because there have been some tornado touchdowns tonight. There have been numerous reports of funnels across the area. And if you want to go back to Max 2, we can just take a look at that area just a little bit more here. So that embedded area of that tornado warning, we continue to be concerned about that. I see some blinking going on here with the severe thunderstorm warning there in Stanton County. So I'm going to get the latest information here so I can bring that to you. The National Weather Service is saying they are continuing that warning until 8:30. They're saying that the severe thunderstorm is located about 7 miles to the north of Clarkson right now, moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. The potential of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts is still there. And as far as the hail size, not very big compared to what you can see out of these cells. Penny size is what they're seeing. Still, obviously, you have to be concerned about that, but I think the damaging wind threat is the bigger deal. There was some 60-mile-per-hour winds a possibility. And as far as locations to be impacted, the National Weather Service is not seeing any actual towns or cities directly in the path, but they're saying places like the Highway 15 and 32 junction, as well as the Highway 57 and 32 junction. Those are areas, if you're familiar with that area, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, that you have to be concerned about. And if I zoom in, you can kind of see those two areas right there. So those are the intersections that we're concerned about right now. There's some rural area out there, so no big towns being affected by that one right now. So our attention kind of continues to be on this thing right here, just the east of Beamer. We've been, as I've said, we've been talking about you for a while now. So we're going to continue to watch that area. Let's see. Seeing also an observation from the field, there are some rear flank downdraft cuts along the line. So they continue to be concerned about, the possibility of this rotation still trying to get all the way down to the ground. So they are continuing that tornado warning there. And again, that does go until 8:15 here. So it's for another few minutes. We've been telling you about all these flash flood warnings. There are numerous ones out there. So basically know if you've been getting some of these heavy rains, there's going to be the potential of standing water. If you're trying to drive out there on a Saturday evening, a Saturday night here, may not be a great idea to be doing, obviously. Probably goes without saying, right? But you know what I mean. You might think the thunderstorm has gone beyond you, but all of a sudden you realize, oh, this gravel road is underwater, or those things can kind of creep up on you, and they can be a problem too. You got to be careful of flash floods. They cause issues for people each and every year, and so we don't want you just going out thinking, okay, the storm has passed, all is good now. I think there's going to be standing water in these areas because Northeast Nebraska has been hit with a lot of storms tonight.
Yeah, and you can put up Weather 1 now, and you can see where that flash flood warning is. So this is kind of a multitude of warnings, but the ones on the east side go until 1 a.m. in the morning. The ones on the west side as early as 11:45. But so there's going to be several more hours where the water's going to take time to recede. In fact, we've potentially reached over 3 inches in spots with an additional maybe couple inches on the way there. So this is kind of the reason why we've been looking at these storms, not only for tornadoes all day, but they're just not moving. And they're putting down a lot of rain really fast. And so there is the potential there for standing water, also rushing water, especially if you live near a creek or near any of the multitude of rivers in the area. That could be a really big issue. It only takes 6 inches of moving water to sweep your vehicle away. So just a thing to keep in mind when we look at this radar that is basically estimated rainfall here. See if I can get data to come in here, but if you look at this estimated rainfall, we have had just a ton of rain that has moved in, and in some of these spots we've seen potentially over 4 inches of rainfall in the Norfolk area, 5.2 inches according to the radar. So some of this just incredible amounts of water coming out of these storms, and that has been actually a problem today because it's been hard to actually see the tornadoes in the storms because there's rain in front of it, right, Ron?
Yeah, rain-wrapped tornadoes are not a good thing. They're very hard to see if you're ever in that situation where there's a storm coming at you. You can't see that tornado within that. So those can be very dangerous kinds of nights. And it seems like with all this heavy rain that we have going on out there, that could very well be developing where you just can't see something coming at you. So yet another good reason to be staying at home if you live in Northeast Nebraska here tonight, because those are very heavy rains. And Kat, thank you for, by the way, putting that flash flood warning up. It showed you what a large area that was, as a matter of fact. And if we go to Max 2, I can actually show you some of the other storm reports, because Kat was showing you very well the flash flood warnings, where those are, how much rain could have fallen, maybe in some locations as much as 3 to 5 inches. And then prior to all that, and while it was going on, these are some of the tornadoes that have been touching down here during the evening hours tonight. It kind of started out west. This was a tornado close to the Battle Creek, Nebraska area. That was a little bit before 6 o'clock. Then we had just about 5 miles to the north of Clarkson, Nebraska, a little bit after 7 o'clock. There was a tornado touchdown reported there, and then that continued off to the northeast for a little bit, even near Howells. By 7:28, they were reporting one on the ground, and then this one about 7:21 that was happening just to the west of Pender, Nebraska. As of right now, that is the last report that we have had of one being on the ground at this point. And we're just kind of watching this tornado warning that continues in effect. When I put the radar data back on, you'll also see that tornado warning going on with, just feels like this cell, they've been saying it's moving to the northeast 25, 30 miles per hour, but boy, it just feels like this thing is crawling along. That thing started the southwest of Beamer. The rotation appeared to move right over Beamer for a period of time, and now it's still not all that far to the east of Beamer, just to the southwest of Bancroft right now, continuing its direction that way. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is in effect for west central Burt, southern Cumming, north central Dodge, as well as southeastern Stanton counties, and this goes until 8:45. So this is right down here for the cell that you see to the north of Clarkson. So the National Weather Service is saying that that storm, which is located along a line extending from 7 miles south of Pilger to 6 miles north of Howells, Nebraska, and 3 miles north of Clarkson, that is the one that's moving to the east at 35 miles per hour with the potential of some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So again, this is all because of this cell that we see back here. It is continuing its eastward trek. And with that moving its way to the east at 35 miles per hour, we'll go ahead and get a storm track on this thing. So it's basically anywhere within this, moving to the east about 35 miles per hour. Here's some of the locations that could be affected. West Point by about 8:38, on into Cumming, Nebraska around 8:48. And then if it's still holding together, Yuling, you could be affected by about 8:58. So again, there's a severe thunderstorm warning for west central Burt, southern Cumming, north central Dodge, and southeastern Stanton counties. And this goes until 8:45. So we're starting to get to the point where we're seeing more severe thunderstorm warnings than the tornado warnings. That was not the case for a while. It seemed like every cell that was popping up was creating a tornado warning just based upon the rotation that was being seen. While we're at it, just to take a quick scan over Siouxland, you do see a few storms trying to pop up in the northeastern sections of our area. I'm going to go ahead and put the radar loop on just so we get an idea of how these are developing. That is new development that you see off to the west of Spencer, Iowa there. So that cell that you see, you're probably getting some decent rain near the Hartley area, for example, and just to the north of Paulina. Those are not severe by any means, but if you're suddenly hearing rumbles of thunder, we're not forgetting about you out that direction. It's just that those storms at this point pale in comparison to how strong these storms have been here in northeast Nebraska. Winnebago, you're getting a good dose of rain right now, and we continue with that tornado warning still in effect in this area. It's not looking as impressive as it was there for a while. You still see the reds and greens coming together, almost becoming more of a line trying to push its way eastward, and then it's a question of whether we can get some spinning going on within that line to possibly continue this tornado warning that at this point goes for another 5 minutes until 8:15. At that point, the National Weather Service will be kind of forced into a decision about whether they issue another tornado warning or whether they just let a severe thunderstorm warning continue with that area. Still, though, that's very heavy rain right between West Point as well as Bancroft, Nebraska, don't you think?
Yeah, in fact, we are getting reports from our First Alert storm tracker right now, Keith Bliven. He says that there's street flooding in Beamer and that the police are on the scene right now. In fact, we do have a flash flood warning in effect until 1 o'clock in the morning for that area, where we have flash flood warnings ongoing, and this could be an additional rainfall that falls. We've already seen potentially several inches of rain in that area. So pretty much from Wayne to Wisner out to Bancroft and to the west, Norfolk, Madison's seen quite a bit of rain. Our Doppler radar estimating over 4 to 5 inches here in the yellow, just north of Norfolk and west of Norfolk. But now the Wisner area, potentially near Beamer, could be seeing several inches of rainfall already. And until the storm really gets a move on, we're going to be left with rain still ongoing in this area, and you can see that really heavy rain ongoing just south of Bancroft right now.
Yeah, exactly. So still just that one tornado warning still in effect for another 4 minutes here. And again, I think Kat's probably feeling the same way. That we'll be interested to see what the National Weather Service decides to do with that. Otherwise, becoming more severe thunderstorm warnings all the time that are out there. We continue with those for the next 30 to 45 minutes for the most part, I would say. But to me, that's a good sign that we're seeing a few more severe thunderstorm warnings. There's not quite the rotation with these. Severe thunderstorm warnings, hey, they cause their own problems. We still could see 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and that's enough to do damage, certainly. So even if you're not in a tornado warning and you're in one of those severe thunderstorm warnings, that's still a good reason to be making sure you're just in a good, safe spot. I guess oftentimes when we're talking severe thunderstorm warnings, we're not telling you to go to the basement. Still not a bad idea, though, especially on a night like this. We've been in the tornado watch now for a long time. There's been numerous tornado warnings. It's a better idea to be safe than to be sorry. So I'd still encourage you, even with those kinds of warnings, if you live in northeast Nebraska there, go ahead and get into that basement. Be very, very close, if not in, that specific safe spot that you've probably chosen there in your home. And if you haven't chosen it, and this is a good time to do that, whether you're in northeast Nebraska or northwest Iowa, kind of use this as a night to kind of prompt yourself to say, okay, what do we do? If we're sitting around watching a movie on a Saturday night, okay, where are we going to take the entire family on this kind of a night? Because we're just hearing a rumble here in Sioux City, as a matter of fact. I noticed it here at KTIV, all of a sudden a pretty loud rumble of thunder. It's probably from that cell that you see just off to the east of Sioux City right now, because we're on the north side of town here. So I'm thinking it's that thunderstorm right there that we were hearing here at KTIV. Usually has to be pretty loud to be able to hear that in the studio, so obviously that was a pretty good rumble of thunder going on there. So here we are, 8:12 p.m. This one tornado warning still going on, severe thunderstorm warnings elsewhere. I'm going to go ahead and put velocity data on this one more time. And we still see just a little indication of rotation there, just to the southwest of Bancroft. Kat was talking about Beamer and Keith Bliven being in that area where we have been seeing some standing water and such, and there's it sounds like a police presence. So there's Beamer right there, just to give you an idea where that is versus where the majority of the storm has gone, which is now just to the east of there. But still, kind of a dangerous situation all through this region. Really heavy rain coming down just south of Bancroft, Nebraska, just west of Lyons. If you live in Lyons, Nebraska, know that even if the rotation is going away or if that goes away, that is still a heavy, good-sized thunderstorm that's going to be coming your way. Kat?
Yeah, and just taking it back to the west a little bit, actually, we just got a report from the Madison County Sheriff where they're saying there's numerous reports of water over the roadways. So out in Madison County, where we had those thunderstorms just kind of sitting for quite a while, now starting to finally move out. But they're saying that the do not drive through the flooded roadways. There are reports of roads actually being completely washed out. So we are getting reports between Highway 121 Battle Creek west to Highway 45 in Tilden and south of Highway 275. So pretty much south of 275 in Madison County has quite a bit of issues there with water over the roadway. And just a quick reminder, rushing water, only 6 inches of rain water that's kind of rushing can actually wash your car off the roadway and put you in a very dangerous situation. Flooding is one of the #1 killers of severe weather, believe it or not, in this country. And we just want to make sure that you're not in your car in that kind of situation. And Ron, you got an update?
Yeah, just kind of checking what's going on across the region. I was looking at a couple of our weather cams. There is our Blackbird Bend Casino cam, and just a few seconds before we took the camera here, I was seeing some pretty vivid lightning going on. So again, that's probably that cell that is just off to the east of Sioux City right now, but it looks like some rain coming down here in town. The flooding that Kat was talking about, that's all across northeast Nebraska. But I tell you what, I was taking a look at while you were talking there, and some of those rainfall totals that you have already alluded to. But it really is impressive looking as you get near that Norfolk area. You were talking about Highway 275 and places close to there or south of there. And you can see, all those regions. That is some really heavy rain that has come down. And here's the bad part. Like as we get over near Wisner, for example, well, you're still getting in on some heavy rain over this direction. So I think we're going to be adding to these areas. And I'm concerned that places like near West Point and such, that eventually we might end up looking like what places like Norfolk already saw. So the heavy rain really continuing. I'm going to put our normal radar data back on so you get an idea of where some of the heaviest rain is.
That tornado warning has been allowed to expire, but the National Weather Service says there may be a little bit of a wind-driven hail signature on that storm as it surges east out of Cumming County, near and south of Bancroft. So that kind of bright spot may not just be heavy rain on this one, as it's kind of starting to get a little wind and hail look to it.
Okay, so that's the last tornado warning that we had in effect. As I take the radar off real fast, you can see the severe thunderstorm warnings that are ongoing out there as these cells continue to work its way off to the east. So we're going to keep a very close eye on these cells. Still some very gusty winds associated with these. The flooding, that's becoming a real problem, I think, out there across northeast Nebraska. So please don't take that lightly, because if a road is washed away, you think there's just a little water over the road and the road's not there anymore, your car is going to be floating and now you're in a dangerous situation. So I really encourage you to not be out and about on this kind of a night. As far as the chat software and such, Kat, are you seeing anything else? Or I think we'll throw it back to programming here since we have no tornado warnings in effect right now. The severe thunderstorm warnings do continue. So thanks for bearing with us and being with us here as we try to stay safe from severe storms rumbling through Siouxland right now. We'll stay with you as the evening goes along.